Limited unique items are sold by Roblox until they run out. We could release, say, 100 of a certain hat. When you buy these, they are stamped with the serial number, i.e. 7 out of 100, that shows which one you got. Once these items run out, they can be sold to other users. So, this was the premise for limited U items, not to be confused with limited items, all the way back from October 5th, 2009. Now, over the years, there have been hundreds, maybe even thousands of limiteds released by Roblox. And since we're talking about limited U items, I'd like to go ahead and give you a little bit of a history lesson. So, let's just look at Playful Vampire, a pretty common item considering that there was 20,000 of these sold before it ran out and people could start reselling them and trading them. Now, how long do you think Playful Vampire took to sell out? Maybe like an hour? Makes sense or so, especially in the modern era of Roblox where people have stuff like auto buy and bots and stuff. But let's go ahead. Let me describe a few trends in limited U's before I begin the list. First of all, limited U items from back in like 2009 and 2010 usually sold really slow because there was no Roblox item notifiers. People weren't that privy to just refreshing Roblox's profile all day. People weren't very rich back then, and people didn't really care. The limited market wasn't a big thing back then. First of all, there was no trading system, and second of all, people weren't very rich. It was tough to get Robux back then. Unless you had a front page game with a really poppin' VIP t-shirt, you weren't gonna get a lot of Robux. Like for example, let's take a look at Red Grind. This was 7 Robux and only 100 could be sold. And now you have to pay 696,000 Robux if you want it. But if you take a look here, the first copy was sold at 6:35 p.m. and 29 seconds, and the last copy was sold at 6:37 p.m. It took almost 2 minutes for this 7 Robux 100 stock item to sell out. Now this was January 2010, and by the way, let me explain real quick how I can figure out how fast an item sold out. So Roblox recently changed the API, which is the stuff within Roblox, for how you can view who owns an item, which messes up Roblox Plus's ability to see who owns what item, and it defaults back to when the item was first purchased. So now I looked at all the rare items on Roblox with low stock and most of the limiteds to see which limiteds were the fastest selling on Roblox. So without further ado, first, let's begin the list of top 10 fastest selling limiteds in the history of Roblox, okay? Anyway, I get to start off the list with an item that I got myself. Now, I already did a video or two covering this item before, but number 10 is the Emerald Valkyrie, okay? So, this item cost 45,000 Robux and had 50 stock. And this only came out a few months ago in early 2019. And this item took an entire 22 seconds to sell out. And yes, within that 22 seconds, I was one of the 50 people who got it originally. So yeah, I'm cool, I hope. But yeah, I remember when this came out, like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like I was on Rabbit watching a Vine compilation with my friend on YouTube. And so I was just chilling, and then my bottom right corner popped up with a notification from Roblox Plus saying, new limited Emerald Valk. And once I saw 50 stock, I spammed the buy button, and I got it somehow. And if you didn't buy it within that 22 seconds, you never got it. Anyway, I'm going to blast through these next 2 items real quick, because honestly, they're not that interesting, in my opinion. So tied for number 9, we have the Glorious Cyan Party Queen and the Glorious Pink Party Queen. Both of these items have 100 stock, cost 5,000 Robux, and are from like 2015 and 2016 respectively. Now, the thing about these items is, since they're semi-recent in the grand scheme of limiteds, which means people had faster ways to buy limiteds, these both managed to sell out in exactly 20 seconds. Now, here's the thing about this list as I progress on. A lot of these items come from the infamous April 1st, 2012 incident, because the people who, quote, hacked Roblox and got into the Roblox account were releasing items that weren't meant to be released yet and making them ridiculously rare. So, for example, this item with 21 Robux and 55 stock is ridiculously cheap and ridiculously rare. So even though it was 2012 and technology on Roblox wasn't that advanced yet, I mean, an item this cheap, with this much people looking at Roblox as the whole site's under attack, this is bound to sell really fast. And this item sold out in just 19 seconds, this very rare hooded Space Lord. He is darkness forever and ever. But anyway, the next item on this list is actually an item I bought originally and surprises me a lot that it's on this list. So this is known as Rainbow Wrath the Avenger, and this is a gear with a unicorn looking like he's puking out a rainbow. So even back in like 2016 I think it was, I was still with the rainbow puke. But let me tell you a little story about when this item came out. So I got the notification, new limited, Rainbow Wrath the Avenger, and once I saw 100 stock I was like, okay, I'll buy it. I mean sure, it cost 10,000 Robux, so I thought, you know, cool. And so when this first ran out in just 19 seconds, which means it's still tied for number 8, it actually was a flop. Like, this item was not doing very well. I barely made my money back with this. I sold it for 15,000, which after taxes, that's hardly 10,000 Robux. So this wasn't a very hopeful item, and that's because people have a negative perception of gears on Roblox when it comes to the limited trading market. And so this was a very fast selling item, and I originally got it, fun fact. And yeah, that's the Rainbow Wrath the Avenger, the gear. But let me go ahead and move on to number 7. The 7th fastest selling limited in the history of Roblox is another one from the infamous April 1st, 2012 incidents known as Memento Mori. Now this one is really rare, only 26 stock and cost 1,000 Robux. So this really super duper rare item took only 15 seconds to sell out, which makes a lot of sense because 26 stock, Jesus Christ. There was barely any to buy in the first place. So there you have it with Memento Mori sitting at number 7. Kind of a weird looking item. It's a skull with a candle on top. This was never meant to come out, but you know, those darn hackers or whatever you want to call them, they messed up Roblox permanently that day because this is a really expensive item. 888 billion Robux. Anyway, Lady of the Federation happens to be one of the rarest limiteds on Roblox. There's like 3 or 4 of these left after all the other people got banned forever. And this also happens to be the 6th fastest selling limited in the history of Roblox. This one took just 14 seconds to sell out. And even though it cost 250,000 Robux, the 10 stock is what got people really excited because there's barely any of these. The rarer an item is, the more likely it is to succeed. I mean, that's just a fact. There's less dumb owners that own it, and there's less people owning it in general, so they can charge as much as they want. It's all about supply and demand. So if people want this, and they sure do, it's gonna be worth a lot. So 14 seconds is sold in. Anyway, we have another party queen item next on this list, and it actually makes a lot of sense because this is modern Roblox. Even though it was 5,000 Robux, there was only 100 stock. And throughout 2015 and beyond, Roblox never releases items with stock like 100. Because, like, they don't do that anymore. I mean, besides Emerald Valk, which came out, like, that's just something they don't do anymore. And with that being said, this only took 13 seconds to sell out, which makes it the 5th fastest selling limited in the history of Roblox. Number 4. Archduke of the Federation. So this one costs 150,000 Robux and has 25 stock. And people were really hyping up this item the day it came out. And this item took 11 seconds to sell out. And it's a pretty cool item. You can watch my full video about the rarest federations on Roblox, because there's 3 federations on this list and I've covered 2 of them so far, so you can check that out. So in a 2-way tie for number 3, first we got Chrono Noctis, the Ominous Helm. Now this seems like an obscure item, you may have never even seen this item before, but the fact of the matter is there's 50 stock, and it's relatively recent. So 50 stock and relatively recent, people had the technology to buy items really quick, and this item sold out in just 8 seconds. So if you didn't buy the item within that 8-second window, you were not going to get the item, okay? I don't have much else to say about this hat, so let's go and move on to the other item tied for number 3, Duchess of the Federation. Now it's a tiny little ugly hat, but there's only 60 stock of this, so of course it was going to sell out really fast. This also took 8 seconds to sell out. And I don't have much else to say about Duchess, so I'm going to move on to number 2. So we have yet another April 1st, 2012 item here. This one had only 21 stock and cost 12 Robux. See, stuff like this just makes perfect sense as to why it sold out so quickly. Okay, selling out in just 7 seconds, we have the Dark Assassin. Now, there's a few fun facts about this item. For example, Roblox, this is actually a duplicate of an item you can already buy in a bundle. So you can get this item for 700 Robux and there's thousands of owners, or you can get the same exact item with the same exact texture minus a tiny detail nobody would notice, which is super rare, and Stickmaster Luke wants 618 million Robux for it. You can make your mind up of which one you want, but anyway, I'm going to move on to the other item tied for number 2, the Dominus Astra. Now, this item was actually really controversial when it first came out because it had a different name, and if you want to learn more about that incident, check out my video about the rarest Domini on Roblox, which you can click in the top right corner. Anyway, Dominus Astra was a 75,000 Robux 26 stock item, and it's a Dominus from 2014. All the other original Domini with 26 stock came out in 2010 and 11. This one came out in 2014. People were hyping this up for weeks. They had their bots ready to snatch this up. Okay, and so this took 7 seconds to sell out. Okay, so, and of course it definitely paid off. If you paid originally 75,000 Robux for it and people will pay up 5 million Robux for it now, yeah, that's quite the investment that you had 7 seconds to get right. So if you didn't, yeah, exactly. I couldn't afford this when it came out. I've never owned an Astra before. I've always wanted one. I mean, it's a good looking Dominus. I made a Roblox Dominus tier list and I put it up there, high up there in the ranks. But anyway, now with me rushing through this whole list, that's because I wanted to get to number 1. Because number 1 is crazy. Because when I originally came up with the idea for this video, I always had one item at the top of my head, and it happened to be number 1. And it's going to be kind of surprising if you notice the trend in this list. All of these items came out in like a more modern era of Roblox, where people have bots and auto buy buttons and stuff like that. But this last item I'm going to show you came out all the way back in 2011, when people were first trying to come up with bots and stuff to buy limiteds really fast. So this is a really surprising pick for a lot of people, but let me provide a little bit of context first. So the Skater Hat series, which is known as the 7 Robux 100 stock hats that turn out to be hundreds of thousands of Robux later, was a really popular series back then, especially in 2011. They were among some of the most expensive items on the website, and they all started out at 7 Robux 100 stock. And people were so ready for the last one to come out. People were staying up for hours and hours. Every time Roblox would log on, everyone on the forums would freak out. Oh my god, Roblox is on! He's gonna post the hat now! And so, people were refreshing all day, waiting and waiting. And at 5:51 p.m. on March 11th, 2011, this item came out, and no human being could have possibly purchased this 7 Robux 100 stock item, because this item was known as Purple Indie. 7 Robux, 100 stock, and you want to guess how fast this item sold out? It took an entire 5 seconds for this item to sell out. Now, I don't know about you, but 5 seconds is like 5 seconds? Like, you know how many indies could have come out during the duration of this video? Like, it's insane. But yes, in 2011, people were so hyped for indie that it sold out in 5 seconds. To this day, this record has never been beat. And I can explain to you a few reasons why. Nowadays, new limiteds often get glitched when people are buying them really fast, so it doesn't let anyone buy it for a bit. And in 2012 and 13, when a new item would come out, you would have to keep trying to click on it because it would give you an error page a lot of the time. So you would have to get lucky and hope it would let you buy it. And then of course, Roblox doesn't release rare items like this anymore. This item was really the last of its kind. So there you have it, the Purple Indie, which was hyped up forever and turns out to be the fastest selling limited of all time, taking 5 seconds to sell just 100 copies. That is the fastest selling limited in the history of Roblox. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you smash that like button, leave a comment which of these items on the list would you like to have. Subscribe to Fave 2, Follow me on Twitter at ROBLOX Fave. Join my fan club on Roblox. Follow me on Roblox. Send me a friend request. Message me if you want to. I don't care. It's your boy Fave, and I'm out.